Welcome to the No Ideas original podcast featuring Shannon, Mr. Rob, and Ken. Yeah, that's Rob plugging the homie Straight Bangers
That's it, bro.
compilation. Now.
Shout out to the gods, man. Pat Rice, love you guys.
You already
Love
know.
you guys.
What's up, bro? How you doing? How your week been, Rob?
Slow motion, bro. Not too much is going on. Just trying to keep the house intact. We got some cold ass weather. It feels like Alaska in this bitch. But outside of that, I've been all right, man. Everything is all right. Wifey's all right. Kids is good. I got another dog.
You
Young
got a
man that
you got a third dog?
yeah, the young man we holding down. We've been holding down for the past 6 to 8 months. Um, one of the dog, and my dumb ass concurred. So I got a dog now. So listen, man, I'm a dog lover, but I tell people all the time, listen, man, dogs are cute until you gotta pick up shit, until they eat your clothes and your shoes and the side of the wall. Then you don't want a dog no more. But you can't throw them in the street. This is not stuffed animals, yo.
It's a lot of
It's a
responsibility, man.
lot of responsibility. Thank you, brother. So
A lot of
I got
responsibility.
another dog. His name is Duke. He's an American pit. Other dogs are getting along with him, but he's a little guy, so he's gonna fall right into he's gonna come right into the fold, and I expect to have a third dog. So
God
yeah,
bless you. You running a freaking animal shelter over there.
son, listen, man, animal shelter. I'm gonna need a farm back here. I'm gonna have some cows and chickens in a minute.
What's up with you, Ken? How your week been?
Oh, I'm good, man. Listen, mine is zero dogs, man. Every time that conversation come up, we discuss who's gonna be doing the work with the dog, and I already know the answer. So that ain't happening right now. But yeah, everything's been cool, man. Regular week, trying to stay warm here too. It's freezing everywhere.
Absolutely.
Or it's six. I was telling you off the air, it's 6 degrees here. Came in my house, and I'm like, damn, it feels chilly. I looked at
In the crib, right? Like you
yeah,
stepped in the freezer.
the thermostat was set to 75, like cranked up, but it
It
only said
still
that it
ain't
was
warm.
like 67. I was like, wow, Jesus Christ. I had to turn my fireplace on. Yo, that fireplace heat is a different type of heat, though, boy. You get that natural
Listen,
heat warm you up fast.
that natural heat is not playing, bro. Get a couple of logs and you get it going. And once you create that little ember at the bottom, you good, bro.
Word. So we got a special episode for y'all tonight, which I appreciate having this conversation because it's a change of pace. You know, the last couple of episodes we've been primarily interviewing entertainers, and I think we kind of fell into interviewing entertainers because we are working on the No Ideas original podcast
Yes,
album.
sir.
Will be
Yes,
coming
sir.
soon. Got some bangers on there. So it's good to have like a change of pace. I have been talking to Rob behind the scene, telling him like, man, we got to get back to getting guests that don't rap, sing, DJ, produce, and just talking to regular people because that's what we
Right.
kind of built the podcast around was talking
Right.
to regular people. So I'm happy to bring to the platform Mr. Mike Taylor, Team Spartan Spade. What's up, bro? Appreciate you pulling up and joining us for today's conversation.
Hi, what's going on? Good evening. Good evening.
Ain't
What's
nothing,
going
man.
on, Black? How you been, bro?
I'm okay, man. Uh, second round of COVID just before a couple of days before Christmas.
Yeah.
I had the OG version back in 2020 when it dropped. So
You had throwback COVID.
yeah, so I was good for like 2 years or whatever, and then got slammed.
Really?
So it wasn't as bad as the first go round, but now this time around, some issues like with lingered cough and giving me back to issues with elevation.
Mm.
Which brings me
Right.
to some of the stuff that why I'm here.
Right.
Wow.
So
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yo, that 2020 COVID was different though. Now COVID light is out now. But if you had it back in 2020, you must have been really down when you had it back then.
yeah, it created some challenges, and that's one of the reasons why I still do what I do.
Mm.
Right.
Being from where we're from and just the life experiences, you still got to step up.
Absolutely.
Once you feel it, the universe opens your eyes. You got to get with something. And I choose
Talk
to do
that
the
talk.
health and wellness joint.
Okay. All right. So let's get into it. Let's talk about tell us what led you to forming Team Spartan Spades and taking on these different challenges. It's kind of like you're doing these Ironman physical fitness challenges.
Yeah, well, it was a culmination of things. Over the years from where we're young, even dealing with people like Master Rob in my community over on Boston Road, a lot of people were either playing football, basketball, or you played freeze tag. So a lot of those things culminates to doing obstacle course racing because we was doing it. You know?
Yeah, son. I mean to cut your wisdom, Mike. I was like, this nigga doing Manhunt 2.0.
Yeah, seriously, you know.
For real, son.
And for our community, there was blocks and blocks that you'd have to run to get away, you know, hopping over fences and stuff like that. And at some point in my life too, when I was on a different path, you'd have to run from the cops.
There you go. Still hopping the same fences, climbing the same walls, my nigga.
Doing the same stuff, you know. And, you know, everybody didn't make it through to high school football or basketball, but you still had a lot of those things ingrained in you within just living in your community. No matter where you lived at, you know, you just had to identify it as such.
Right. That's right. That's right. Yo, let me ask you this, man. Prior to you even starting the team, how did you even find out they had a Spartan race?
Well, basically around 2011, and this is funny. One of our childhood friends, Doe, you know, I was out. Business was slow.
Shout out to Carl Doe, yo.
I'm a business. I'm a creative. You know, I do design work. That's another life too that I've lived. Michael Antonori and Mosby Jeans. Business was slow, so I would go out and go fishing, clear my head. I would go out in the cold. You know, so one time I was trying to take my childhood friend, my day one, trying to take him to get a fishing license. A lot of spots had been closing down, so they wasn't selling a fishing license, which took me to Route 100 here in New York.
Yeah.
We're just driving, and I'm seeing patches of ice and, you know, lakes, and I'm like, yo, Doe, look like it's people on ice, you know? It's something that we're familiar with from TV, but never actually seeing it in person.
Right.
So we still trying to drive to find where I could get this fishing license, found a place that was maybe like 50, 60 miles up. And I came across a gentleman. He was out there. So I pulled over as a big brother. He was like 6'3", 320 pounds, you know, chopped it up and was part of my daughter. She's a sliding through. You know, she's one of the Team Spartan Spade members. She's been there from when I first started ice fishing. So during that time, you know, I started learning like, okay, this is kind of cool. I started ice fishing, and I was still looking for something more to stay active during the winter. I would see a gentleman from my building, older gentleman, going out in the snow, getting his workout. And I'm like, I've done other things, nefarious things in the winter. I can get my ass outside and go work out in the winter.
That's a fact, bro. You know? That's a fact.
Don't make sense to be fit in the house, in a nice warm house, when you could really test yourself. So once I started doing that, I was on the computer, and I came across this video. Somebody had made a video relative to Spartan called Powerful Beyond Measure, which used that motivational speech and applied it to the video of the Spartan race. Around that time, too, my wife had also showed me something for Tough Mudder. But the things with Spartan, the montage really resonated with me. Like I indicated before, it was a lot of stuff that we've done in the community.
Right.
You know? Different sizes, different weights, you know. You got to be fun, and you got to run if you don't want to get tagged. So that's how I found Spartan. 2012, I jumped in and did my first race. It beat me up. Ended up doing like 90 burpees. I thought I trained well because of the urban environment that I was at. You know, training in Bronx Park, training over at Cedric and Cedar, you know, over by River Park Towers. Any place where I can find a place to get in and work out. But apparently I wasn't ready because I was just like, nah, I need to rethink some things, you know.
Listen, that body get old, son. We used to jump fences the way we used to grow up, but nowadays it's a little different, man. You gotta take your time.
Yeah, but what it also was is that you know, our bodies are definitely capable. The thing is, we get caught up in just day-to-day stuff with work. So you can work construction and really feel like you have the mechanics of strength, but your cardio endurance, your flexibility, all of that comes into play. Right. And the perspective that I had was, you know, my daughter was younger at the time. I was like, you know, I need her to be able to save her. And if anything, any children that I have in my employ, or just anybody, you know, it makes sense to just beyond looking physically fit, to have some type of strength and wherewithal to get busy if it came. You know, the endurance, having run up and down mountains. You know, training, I would have trained over in Van Cortlandt, some of these other places that I frequent now to train.
Yeah.
Talk about calisthenics a little bit and how important that is with your race. It's pretty much calisthenics, ain't it?
No, it's a hodgepodge of everything, because you have some people who do just weight training, some people who do just yoga.
Right.
Basically, it's a lot of plyometrics are involved, depending on how you as an individual race. So many people over the past 10 years, we've just celebrated Team Spartan Spades for 10 years. And I've always recruited people to get them to come out. They use the word race and think you got to run through it. They're amputees that get out here, people with missing limbs that get out there. And it's just a testament to their will to just be physically fit based on your physical needs.
Right.
You can't say, oh, you got to do a bazillion push-ups and squats to a person who has no legs.
Yeah.
Right. That's right.
So
the goal is to finish, pretty much. If you start to finish.
And their tagline is, you'll know at the finish line. You'll know what you got to either eliminate, what you got to improve, what you got to do for you as an individual. So you've seen people out there that'll hit the thing. They'll do, like I said, 1,000 push-ups, dips, and everything, but haven't been running. So they end up crashing because they haven't done the cardio component. You drinking all the water you want, but if you don't have the electrolytes in it, so that involves the science where you're cramping up. Dude's cramping up within 30 minutes, wondering what happened. He should have been done. Yeah. And you see them like, nah, bro, it's a lot more to it than that.
Right.
Peace, young. Salute. What's up, Yella? Thank you for tuning in tonight. Go ahead, Ken.
So, Mike, can you because I think you should just listening to Rob talk. Can you explain to people what the Spartan race is, what type of events and everything is, so that people can, better understand what's entailed in the Spartan race?
Okay, now the Spartan race is it's a brand. Spartan's a brand that started up in Pittsfield, Vermont. Their original race was the Death Race, was Peak Race's Death Race, and Spartan was a spinoff from that. So OCR stands for Obstacle Course Racing. The basic level of Spartan is the sprint. When I first started, it began at a 5K, but it was always a little more than that. Like there's always a running joke that is it real miles or Spartan miles, because that's some of the psychological games that are played in these events. There's always a measurement of distance, but you can have like 1,000 feet of elevation, which isn't included in your mileage. You get 1,000 feet of elevation and that take you out, and then you still have the actual mileage to go. So the basic entry level race is a sprint, which is a 5K, and it consists of 20 obstacles. And they take place within mountainous ranges, sometimes flat areas, but it's mud involved. You're jumping over fire at the finish line. You have rope climbs, all the stuff that they taught you if you grew up in, New York City, the physical fitness gyms from middle school.
Yep.
You have the rope climb to test your strength, your upper body strength. You have barbed wire crawl where you're running. And mind you, this is taking place in wooded trail areas where you have mud, it's dry. So now you're slipping and sliding because you may not have got the right sneakers to do it. You need traction. So now you're crawling under barbed wire. Sometimes crawling under barbed wire, they have water hoses that's, spraying you down or whatever. So that's complicating things because in your mind, you may have trained completely different, not thinking that that's a variable that you have.
Right.
Yeah. You know what I was thinking about in terms of this, like, so there's the physical component that you have to train for.
Talk about
You're
it, bro.
physically fit, but what goes into what is the mental training for something like this looks like? Because I know you have to be mentally prepared to even compete in something like this.
Well, the easiest thing to mentally prepare, I always tell people, is to deal with what's inside of you. The same thing like with the fitness. Like I indicated before, at the time it was slow. So when you're trying to spend time on the computer figuring out how to bring the money back together or however you're going to do it, that's a mental exercise.
Right.
You're going to either read, you're going to hop on a podcast, you'll sift through many podcasts. Some people, like you guys indicated, you have so many different genres that you guys cover. But as an entrepreneur, I need to listen to what the rappers did or what they did wrong, business wise. It may be something relative to me being a creative. That helps your mental capacity increase and improve to be able to take on things like this. Digging within yourself to say, hey, if I'm having relationship issues, you have some people who are violent people, but if you get out and get some exercise done, Now you're less violent because you've depleted all of
Yeah.
that rage that may have been inside of you. You know,
Right.
you have an injury that's a persistent injury. The psychological component of getting over that pain and suffering, or how you're going to manage the pain, is relative to doing the obstacle course racing. Because some of us have maybe not been camping or down south, and you're in these wooded environments.
The element.
Survival comes in. There's
Right.
no real psychological trainer for that. It's either fight or flight. And now you're saying, hey, I'm in a race, but I haven't been around woods. You know what I'm
Right.
going to do now?
Yeah.
I'm going to run,
Right.
try to keep it with that person who's in front of you, you know, relative to safety. Or you're going to tough it out and allow your mind to unwind, and you start, you know, dealing with your psychological components that may be bothering you or helping you get ahead while you're out there.
Yeah. The
It's-
mental,
it's-
the
Okay, Sean.
mental and the physical reward to me of doing something like this is evident, you know. But the other part of it that I think about, and I wonder if you could speak a little bit about it, is the fellowship that comes as a result of doing it. Because I look at your Instagram, did some research, and that's what I see is a core unit of people that have united around a mission. You know, so it seems like fellowship comes out of this also. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, now the fellowship comes from back again, just the community in the hillside. You know, I could refer back to Master Rob. You know, I wasn't good at basketball. I could run. I had the big feet. He's one of the people who gave me one of my nicknames, Battleship. This was my first year in middle school. You know, I showed up with
Yo, son, you have to remember that. You have to remember.
it is relative to it because you know, some people in certain environments, especially athleticism, they don't give you the opportunity to play sports within them because you're not performing at the elite level. You know, like I could run, I could jump, I just didn't have any handle or could shoot. You know, but Rob would be one of the people who would just let you in, like, yo, come on. You know, he'd be doing his thing, but that's the opportunity to fellowship with your people. You're not shutting anybody out. And with obstacle course racing, you do have different tiers of athletes that show up. But what goes on is that during those races, you may see somebody who's having a hard time. You know, they don't know how they got out there. Somebody signed them up. They thought it was easy. Now they need assistance with getting over a wall. Or you need assistance getting over a wall that's maybe 7 foot. You know, your arm might be jacked up or your knee is banged up. So now you're able to fellowship just by helping this person. You don't even got to stay with them. You could keep it moving, but you've already made an impression on them from just that action alone.
Right.
So when I first started doing obstacle course racing, especially here in the Northeast or whatever, there wasn't too many people of color that was out there. And they were sparse, and you know, it seemed like, hey, nobody wants to talk to each other or anything. You're out there moving and shaking, some people learning, but that was another thing where you have the different cultures clashing.
Right.
The ability to fellowship, you know, it was certain stuff that we do in our community. It's like, okay, we already work together in certain capacities.
Right.
Thing after I finished my first race was I need to bring more people to do this because the Bronx suffers from high rates of diabetes, obesity. And, you
I
know,
was going to ask you about that.
when you think about how we got here, part of that is the fellowship. You know, our fellowship varies from sports, if you're playing at the elite level, or recreational, or you're helping kids within your community, or your fellowship is around food and alcohol or whatever, but you still have that fellowship going on. I figured, why not do it from a fitness capacity that can help the area that I live in, the community of the Bronx.
Right.
And that was it.
And you know what's crazy, and I'm glad you did, because I heard you say it on a podcast. You know, the Bronx got the worst health in one of the worst health counties in the nation.
Yeah.
And mind you, 63% of the people in the Bronx are Hispanic. The other 35 are black. That's over 90%, bro. That's just us in the entire Bronx, outside of Riverdale and Pelham and Morris Park. We know what them areas are. But you know, where there's high poverty, you have high levels of health, man. And one of the things that strike people in the Bronx area is asthma from the pollution. And I know a lot of people I grew up with couldn't play ball unless they had their pump with them. My man Chewy is one of them. He had to bring his pump to the court just to play a full, man. I'm like, damn, man, it's crazy, bro. But you know, a lot of people develop those situations. So what was that the main purpose? Or was that along with you being inspired by Spartan, but along with that, trying to get people more healthy or be at least health conscious of what they're doing day to day.
Yeah, that was part of it, and also, like I said, there have been components and times in my life where I was trying to implement some of these things. Like I used to work in childcare at a residential treatment facility up in Dobbs Ferry, New York, and I
Okay,
had got
that's what's
injured
up.
on the job or whatever. So I had torn my right rotator cuff during the job, so I was still working, trying to get the kids healthy because that's a way to break up a lot of the challenges that arise when you're dealing with quote unquote troubled children or children displaced by the system, and they're
Right.
all brought together with different crises that can arise. So I would implement a thing where the kids were acting up or whatever, or having challenges and disputes or whatever through gang beasts or whatever. And hey, everybody get up, we're going walking, because Mr. Taylor couldn't go get his exercise because I had to come here to deal with the crisis. So I was
Right.
walking around the campus. Some of them had pride issues where they thought that they were being paraded around, to shame them.
To look a certain way.
Yeah, but once they realized that I had them exercising, all it took was to get them to walk. And then we're doing push-ups, then we're doing jumping jacks. So the whole facility was starting to see this. It's a facility with like 7 cottages. The girls wanted to join in. Hey, can we go walking with Mr. Taylor and them? So we had everybody coming together for exercise.
Domino effect.
Where,
So
where were you at? You was at CV?
I was at St. Christopher's.
Okay, yeah, I'm familiar. I'm familiar
So
with it.
I was up there and at the Dobbs Ferry campus. So
Mhm.
it was little things like that. Whereas I'm still able to exercise a little bit. It also helps tire the kids out, and it provides them a therapeutic way of getting fit, because they have some of those challenges too that you mentioned that impact our community with the asthma,
Yeah.
the unhealthy stuff, even trying to get
Asthma, heart disease,
yeah.
strokes, diabetes. I know a lot of friends that got diabetes, and I just share this with you, man. I wish I would have caught it early. A friend of mine, and Stan Straw had passed away super early, and
Mhm,
that was a red flag for me, man. I think he had been about 37, because we both born in December,
mhm,
and how he died, I'm like, yo, bro, we just scratching the surface. A year later is when I lost my kidney. That's when I was like, yo, this is serious, bro. And Stan, like myself, we around the same people, so we're doing the same things. We eating at the same stores, the same Chinese food. We congregate like that. And I was saying to myself, here it is. I'm in Maryland, and it
mhm.
affected me. And I used to tell guys, say, yo, listen, man, don't feel sorry for me because I lost my kidney. Use me as an example, because y'all ate like I ate. Y'all drink what I drink. Go
Mm.
check yourself out. Know your creatinine levels. Know what your blood pressure is, bro. Know if you could be on the bridge of a stroke right now and won't even know it. You know what I
Yeah, we
mean?
got a question real quick. So Yella says, sorry, I don't know if I missed it. How long does one of these roughly take to complete the race?
It could take anywhere from, depending on your fitness level, your psyche going into it. It could take anywhere from the fast people are knocking them out in sometime like 25 minutes for the basic 5K. That's people.
Really?
Some people who are fine tuned. Their fitness is up, their nutrition is up, and it could take anywhere to like 5-6 hours. Or
Oh wow.
longer, depending on how you show up. Anybody's capable of doing it. Even if you've never done a race before, you get out there, you try it, and you realize, like, wow, I
Right.
definitely need to leave those damn French fries alone.
Yo,
I definitely
I have
didn't.
fries today. Don't do that.
I didn't need unlimited fries. Keep the joints coming. You only had 7 ounces of steak, but you had like
Bottomless
5
fries.
pounds of French fries.
Yes,
And you start rethinking that on the hill, and then you look and realize there's more to the hill. Oh, and there's a mountain. Oh, that's part of the course. Now you realize
wow.
this ain't taking you to 25 minutes as the fastest person. It's going to be a minute. And the
Right.
problem that else arises is, damn, you didn't drink enough water for the for the 8 hours. Luckily,
Mm.
we have water stations out there, but definitely you could get it done if you've never done one before. I'd advise you to follow Team Spartan Spades because through my relationships, sometimes things magically happen where we're able to introduce new people who've never raced Spartan to Spartan as one of their ambassadors. So you got to get out there and do it. And it's like the slogan says, you'll know at the finish line. And I think that translates to, like I said, know what to do for your diet, know what to do for the workout.
Right.
A lot of times, one of the things that was identifying for me was that the things culturally, like our holiday festivities,
Right.
sometimes I would see people's plates and we'll be so excited to
Overindulging.
8 different types of carbs on the plate.
Yeah.
Like 2 proteins. Then we're gonna do like 4 or 5.
No greens.
Desserts.
You're trying to say
Some will have greens, but remember it's like 5 different versions of carbs.
Right.
go with the mashed potatoes, the baked macaroni, and the rice.
And the rice. And we eat rice frequently, so you don't even need to eat that at the special holiday occasion. You know? So some of that stuff, like I started peeling back, like, I'm 47, thankfully, by Allah's grace, and certain things, certain events, I started realizing like we're doing this damage to ourselves under the under the guise of fellowship, but certain stuff that we don't always need, and we could always switch it up. You don't gotta be the super vegan, but you definitely don't need the the 2 pounds
the extra shit,
macaroni and cheese. Yeah. It's like one of the podcast shows that y'all had where you spoke with Hustle and you were talking about the high fructose syrup, and it's like it's not even a regular fructose syrup, it's the high. So we just
somebody we know, Black, somebody we know. I won't put him on blast because it's his personal business, but he almost had a diabetic seizure from drinking Minute Maids.
Wow.
Being just thirsty, DJing, being thirsty, just reaching for the Minute Maid and a half gallon and taking it. Now, mind you, while he's DJing, he's sweating, he's starting to feel off. Before you know it, nigga passes out.
While he DJing?
While he's DJing. So by the time when he got to the hospital, his A1C, my nigga, his A1C was like 500,
Damn.
Like he was like, he's like, master, I was out of here. And that's when he started calling me. What did you do? What did you eat? This, that, and the third. I said, for one, you gotta change your diet, bro. You can't just, when we were young, we felt invincible. We can, like you said, we can jump fences, we climb walls, we can do that. Once you start to slow things down, bro, everything slows down. You can't just get back on the 10 speed and ride the Fordham Road like you used to. You can't. It's not gonna work. So I told him, I said, yo, leave the sugar alone. It's the sugar, bro. But mind you, when you're getting something to drink, turn it around and read what's behind there. High fructose corn syrup ain't. It says syrup, but it's not sugar, bro. It's something that your body really can't break down. It's a replacement for sugar, just for the taste. And you drinking gallons and gallons of that? Yeah, you're gonna hurt yourself, bro.
What's interesting about that is that in other countries they don't allow it. So
They don't.
It's illegal.
My son is out in London, and you won't find that in there. Also, when you go to a place like a fast food place, our mediums are their largest, so they don't even make those sizes. Those sizes that's big.
What did I say about our culture?
Yeah,
our culture for one.
Sizes and no than that high fructose corn syrup.
Right, son.
And sometimes, it definitely goes back. Like I know you referenced his sugar being 500. Unfortunately, in 2020, I lost my mother to diabetes. And
sorry to hear that.
Thank you. It was it was a Christmas Eve, and I got the call, but it came out to one of her friends that her blood sugar was about over 600. And I guess she was fearful to contact me. We don't live in the same state or whatever. Right. But when I actually went there and saw I had to respond at like 3 a.m. to New Jersey or whatever, but I always tell people, I said it was like the gun was right there. I happened to look on the side, and one of my family members had brought her, I guess a holiday treat, but it was sweet potato pie. It looked like it was some chicken, you know, about a thing or whatever. And you know, that brought a lot of sadness to me because she just circumvented COVID during the crisis.
Right.
She had her leg amputated this year. I mean, the year that she passed or whatever. This is 2 years ago. But you know, it was a wake up call that I definitely know is possible for many of us. But discipline, the self discipline, is where we run into issues at. You know, I know sometimes we go through things where, okay, we got to have, like you said, he's reaching for it and just slamming it. Is certain things that we have to do our own individual discipline and self-discipline.
That's right.
You know, at least start the ball rolling, you know, and through this kind of stuff, that's why I started Team Spartan Spades. I kind of mixed it from the Black Spades because, you know, they just put you against racism. Right. You know, that's what their fight was. And my fight, I felt, was for fitness and health, because we always talk about how we're going to keep it real and the warrior's walk. This is a tough walk to walk. You know, you can't have a shootout with diabetes or fried foods. You know, you can't. It's not enough bullets. You know, but what you can do is say, you know what? Let me go home and eat a salad. You know, let me go home and eat this, or you know, make the conscious decisions for not only you but your family, because people will watch what you do.
Ask Renee where we get organic fries from.
Yeah, I got to try organic fries. I've never organic fries.
And see, and mind you, in a lot of foods, for those who are diabetic or pre-diabetic, A1C challenge, sugar just don't rest in the sweets, man. It's in your starches. It's in a lot of different things, man. So your body has to break that down. Now, what I've learned, if you're trying to lose weight or just trying to trim off, your body got to get through all of that sugar fat first.
Yeah.
Before it gets to the fat that's sitting around your muscle. And that's why people get reluctant for the discipline part, because people think that, you know, I go walk a lap, run a lap, do all this, I can sweat and all that, look in the mirror, ain't nothing changed. And it gets discouraging because you want to change. But people don't have, what most people don't have or should strive to have, is the state of course mentality, man. You got to have a longevity mindset to say, give myself 6 months. If I stay consistent 6 months, whether it's every weekend, every day, whatever your schedule is, I guarantee you there'll be results, because your routine and your redundancy in getting it will make it so. It's not going to happen overnight. You know what I mean? And you just got to be mindful of what you eat as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, food and sugar is addictive. Your body will crave that as you start to, you know, start to get rid of sugar or something. One of the biggest things, and what's I'm going to ask you, Mike, is how do you, you know, get the people to stay with the commitment of doing it? Because like everything else, when the new year comes around, everybody's in the gym. Everybody got a fresh new gym. The New Year's resolution is to lose weight or get
for the first 30 days.
Not say lose weight. It's a lifestyle change. We all hear all of this stuff, but what goes into getting people to do their commitment? Because I watched the videos and it seemed like you got a good group of people that are on board with it.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I'm just genuinely me. I've had some challenges where, you know, outside of you know, just doing this stuff, that I had almost lost my life, and it was just like a challenge to keep people busy. Like as Renee Vega, who's been on here, you know, he would crack jokes because sometimes he would be one of the first people with Team Spartan Spades when I was out there getting my mileage out. When things were slow, as a fellow creative, we get out there and chop it up in Van Cortlandt Park. You could smell the Burger King. So he would always joke that we got to go get the double whatever,
double Whopper,
the double whatever they got going on, because it'll be so early in the morning. And you know, what is the thing of making yourself available? So even availability to your family. If your family knows, oh, we're going at this time, they're going to want to rock out at those times. But your consistency to you is what comes first. So as long as you know that you're doing what you got to do, other people kind of take the hint like, man, if Mike doesn't come out, what am I going to do? I need to still get busy, you know? And how I do it is so inviting that I start people out by walking. You know, we'll get out there, we'll walk or whatever. If I got my tire Rolanda,
that's dope.
I had for the past 10 years. You know, while we chopping it up, I could talk to you about anything, but while you talking, I'll be like, hey, hold this for me for a second. You know, now you carry a 30-pound tire without even realizing it. and we walk in for a while. I let you rock, and I'd be like, yeah, so you just carried that for a mile, and now you realize, wow, I've done this.
Did you play a little child psychology on people out there, bro?
It's nice and simple, because what it is people are divulging certain things about themselves, but you're able to show them what's innate within them, that you can do this. And how do you know that you can do it? Because you look where we carried this thing from.
That's a good philosophy.
I'm gonna take my time. So if you want to run, I got runners. You think you fast? Go keep up with them. But just know that if they leave you, you still got to know how to make it back to where we are. So you can pick your poison, but it's still that influence that once you come, I tell you, yo, you got the misses, you got your peoples, bring them too. You got the kids, bring the kids, because now everybody's doing it collectively. And once you realize that, okay, I can do this with my family, with my tribe, you're gonna start showing up. Like, okay, Kenyatta said, put this on the wire. Yo, we're gonna be over here. This way, if you're not even in the Bronx or you floating around, you know that you could still get busy where you are.
Right.
Oh, I don't feel like making that drive to get up with Rob, but yo, I'm gonna go get out there, check out those parks, because it's putting you in a different psychological space. That, okay, I can bring my family. We can go fellowship, without the alcohol, without whatever. But now we're working on getting each other healthy. It could be through Team Spartan Spades, or it could be, Team No Ideas Original. Because just like this, it's nothing original about what I do, but what it is just stepping up and starting it and seeing who comes with you for the journey. Most of the people I started with was people from Hillside. I think about
how many members you got, Mike?
We have over like 100 some members. People show up at different times because like my team captains, some of them, these are the people who've been most consistent. Some of them are Ganifana, from Honduras. So, younger people, but they put their people on. This is what we're rocking with. So they showing up. They seeing the leadership. I always tell people I don't leave anybody. So even when we do the race, I'm the last one to leave the course, because I can't go and tell your people, oh yeah, so and so, or I don't know where they at. But they came to ride out with me. It's like that that ideology, no man left behind. I can't explain to your kids like, oh nah, man, I did my race, but he's still out there, just keep a lookout for him. You ain't gonna want to rock with me no more. So everybody get off the off the mountains or whatever. But even for the workouts, I started doing free community workouts, and I was able to bring something to the community where I currently live at, which was adult fitness equipment to Parkside, Bronx Park.
Dope.
Look at you.
And that's
and I just mentioned Parkside to y'all too, didn't I?
Yo, Rob, doesn't this conversation sound eerily similar to the conversation we had like 2 weeks ago in the studio with Rice and Bathgate?
Yes,
And
sir.
we were talking about like health, and I was telling them like, I've never had a Whopper. I've never tasted a Whopper.
He's never had a Whopper. He's never had a Big Mac. I said that's why your brain is so damn sharp, because you ain't never had nothing to fuck you up.
Yeah, I just had to call it, like, I've never been into some of those things. Like, of course I've had McDonald's before, but just Whoppers and Big Macs and stuff like that has just never been my thing. But you mentioned something that we were having a conversation about, and we were talking about our responsibility as adults from the community. So you guys are North Bronx dudes. Me and Kenyatta originally South Bronx, and then we're North Bronx transplants. Then we moved up to the North Bronx. But we were talking about, like people who grew up in the Bronx and what their social responsibility was in terms of community activism and giving back to the Bronx and making the Bronx a better place. So can you talk to us a little bit about how important community activism is in terms of what you're doing?
Well, it's very important. Some of the stuff that I would see, having lived in the South Bronx and then come to the North Bronx, were different programs that people stepped up and created these programs, whether it be for art, safe streets to keep kids safe. Sometimes this stuff worked, sometimes it didn't, but that really came from the leadership that was in these communities. Unfortunately, some of us turned to the darker side and stayed there. Some just deviated from those paths, but never looked back or went back to help bring about those changes, things that didn't exist when we was younger, that now you have the opportunity to fix it. but we don't go back and change it, you know.
Right.
And I remember being at Hunts Point. You know, they had a program down there at a place called The Point, synonymous to Hunts Point, where they were trying to get kids to stay away from selling drugs and you know, the hard hit areas dealing with heroin and all of that down there.
Yeah.
But you had to be from that community to benefit from those programs. And my cousin lived down there, so I was able to learn and pay attention that even though I was in the streets, some of these programs, we didn't have them in the Northeast Bronx, so they moved away.
Right.
So at the right age, it was a thing where, you know, I'm coming up and you hear so much stuff about what's not changing and voting doesn't change anything. And from my experience, it does. All it takes is for the people to show up and do something, to advocate. You know, you have whole cultures that are showing up to these community events, advocating for what their people need. And one thing that I found that it's only like 2 or 3 Black ladies, myself, and then everybody else will be from different cultures and different nationalities, trying to get what they need for their community. Right. So relative to fitness or whatever, I said, yo, you know, growing up in the Northeast Bronx, I used to live on 219th and Willard Avenue, seeing some of the same workout equipment over the past 40 some years in the park and nothing new. Then they didn't have anything down by me. So that propelled me to get involved. One day I seen a woman out on the corner over here on 80 Avenue, you know, and I'm like, damn, what's this white woman doing out on this corner? There's nothing over here, no real estate. You know, she's either, you know, trying to prostitute or something, or she's trying to gentrify something.
Right.
So, you know, I'm walking.
That's right. Nah, that's the way it looks now, especially in the Bronx. The Bronx don't even look the same.
Yeah, and you know, it's a thing of, okay, if this is what's going on, you should, as an adult, you should be aware of what's going on in your community, because so many times we shy away from doing the real heavy lifting. You know, my daughter and the other kids got to walk by this. So if there's something going on, you know, I don't need this lady on my corner. You know, I need to see what's going on. But it turns out they were helping promote community awareness and how to make use of capital funds from your community.
Oh, that's dope.
You know, so it was participatory budgeting, and it was through Richie Torres when he was previously the council member for my district. So I'm checking out the paperwork to see if it's legit. You know, in the hood, we always want to see the paperwork. Yeah, I checked out her paperwork, and
that's right. Let me see your credentials, Joe. Let me see the credentials.
How to make use of $1 million of taxpayers' money. And having been training over the years, getting ready for Spartan races or whatever, it was a thing like, okay, this is the information that we always say that we don't get.
Right.
You know? And it's there.
It's right here.
Be up, out, and early while the people are engaged in their community.
Right.
So that's how I got into civic engagement. I had done it previously in the past, going to community board meetings, but to really pay attention to your community, this is how the work is done. You know, from there, it took going to a couple of meetings, and you get to see what people are advocating for and trying to build out. I had already had the idea in my mind. I need to get some physical or fitness equipment, you know, and the importance of that is you have so many people who are coming home from jail where they're trying to, you know, acclimate back to society. One way I figured to do that, where the cops ain't beating them up, get them to a location where they're being productive.
Right.
If they're not working out, you ain't doing nothing, you know, nefarious or nothing ill or whatever. You're just trying to work out.
Right.
Once you working out, now I know that if you could do all them push-ups and dips and all of that, you could go to work for UPS or FedEx, because you got to be able to lift that 75 pounds.
Right.
You know, so I've helped empower our people that may be on the fringes, or the people who don't have a gym membership or can't afford it.
That's right. That's so.
So just because we are impoverished don't mean, you know, that we can't have things within the community.
Yeah, I like what you're saying by that, because I was saying when we was having that discussion, I was saying that we sometimes get roped into thinking very, very large in terms of making like systemic change, but something as simple as, you know what, we need exercise equipment in the park is where we should be thinking, like micro level, to make those small changes, and then it'll have a larger impact. And shout out to the South Bronx too, 168th Street, Union Ave, Prospect Ave, Forest Project,
St. Mary's Project, St. Mary's Park.
No, we got to give South Bronx love. But yeah, so I just think that, you know, like in terms of community activism and understanding and our social responsibility, having come from the Bronx, like looking at creative measures like what you're doing, is far more important than just, a lot of people think that it's about automatically injecting money. So you can have somebody come and give a bunch of money, but if you don't know what to do with the money to impact the community or make change, then how valuable is actually getting the money?
I can tell you from experience that just the money alone, you can get some of that, but really it's your time going out, talking to people, working with people, helping people get out of situations. Some people, they're just in a bad situation and they just need something. Like from working with kids in sports and stuff, we had a situation where we had kids that some kids were just at home by themselves. Some kids just didn't have stuff to do after school, was just doing things they shouldn't be doing. But once you got them involved in different things, I can see now in talking to some of them, because some of them you still have relationships with.
That's right.
They managed to become really productive in society. I mean, some of these kids are playing basketball overseas. Some of these kids are, even if they have regular jobs, some kids that would not have been productive are productive now. And
Yeah, those are the things that transition for me, respectfully. I mean, in my hood, if it wasn't for Jip, if it wasn't for Juice, if it
Yep.
wasn't for older cats, I remember one day, I'm gonna shout his name. Ben Richards told me, "Get off the block. I'll buy you a basketball."
Mm.
Literally, just like that. Go to the park. Get out of here. You know what I mean? And that continued push kept me in the park. It kept me, wanting to get better, wanting to be at my best, wanting to challenge myself. You know what I mean? And that's what the greater part that you're doing, Mike, is you're challenging people to get out there, get out of their comfort zone, and be out and doing it as a community. Because once you see someone else do it, you say to yourself, "Oh, I can do it," or even have your children come out there, so
Yep.
they'll hold you accountable. Like, "Yo, Dad, don't we gotta go at 2 o'clock?
Yep.
Let's go."
And it's
It's
like
a great thing.
not to cut your wisdom. It's like I tell people, at the age that many of us are at, there was a lot of pushback due to systemic racism and community involvement or lack thereof. I always tell people it's our time at the helm. If you're going to navigate the ship, but just don't get on the ship and say, "Oh, what do we do now?"
Right.
Your turn at the helm. You got to move it somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
We could sit at the dock all day long. The storm's still going to move in, knock the boat probably back on shore. Then what we going to do?
Right.
You can head
Be
out.
prepared.
You don't know the depths of the sea, but you still got to get out there and navigate. And that's where the community activism comes in at. I sat in on many meetings just to get my idea proposed onto the ballot. Then I had to go out there and stand out there in the cold or get people to sign up. And through that process, you start learning about some of the things where the community feels that they were ripped off or cheated, because there's a process to how the government on the federal and local level delves out funds. You mentioned having the money. The money could be there, but if the contractors aren't there to install a security light or bus lamp, the stuff ain't gonna go up until Shannon decides, okay, I got this on my calendar, now I can go install 10 traffic lights or whatever.
Right.
But relative to each community, wherever you are, that's a call for you to those so-called entrepreneurs and hustlers. Sit down, read, and realize that there are projects that you can go on board, get paid from the city or the city or your local jurisdiction as a contractor to help expedite some of this stuff. And now
Right.
you've gotten certified to be a camera installer.
Right.
You've got certification to do construction work. You don't got to say, "Oh, they not let me in the union." Start your own business, but take the time, do the knowledge, and realize, like, oh, this is why it takes so long to get this stuff.
It's
And
the
you learn
footwork.
in the community,
Right.
like, yo, they promised us this, and it never happened. But they're not going to tell you, oh, that's because the contractors who would do this are working on other projects all the way out in Brooklyn.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that, because you use the analogy of people who get on the ship. What's worse than the people who get on the ship and don't provide any direction on the ship is the people who stand at the dock and complain
Yeah.
about what's going on, like the non-participants. To me, like I can't stomach that for all the people that have all these opinions and all these wonderful ideas but refuse to participate in whatever the actual process is to getting those ideas heard or implemented. To me, it's just like, like you just Monday morning quarterbacking Like I could sit around and pick apart issues that I see with everything that goes on, you know. But if you truly want to be the person that leads change, like you have to be a participant. And I don't think everybody is a participant. I think it's a lot of people sadly are just critical of whatever it is that's going on. So even participating in the political process at that level, at the community level, that to me is like where the real change starts. Like I hear people say that they don't participate in politics at a national level. Okay, I get it, because you may feel that, you know, it's so far away from you that you can't really feel the change in terms of policies that's being implemented, you know. But at the local level, with your local council person, you know, your congressperson, your borough president and stuff like that, these are people that you can reach out and touch and talk about what's going on in the community to actually lead to some form of change if you actually invested in it. But I'm not 100% sold that people are completely invested in change as much as they are invested in the actual complaint around whatever's going on. Do you have like a formal partnership with like the Bronx Parks Department, or this is just something that you spearheaded out of passion?
No, just spearheaded out of passion. You know, going to those meetings, you know, being involved. And it's a funny thing, like you reference the people on the docks or whatever, and it's like they'll be on the dock screaming, "Why ain't we get anywhere yet?"
Right.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly.
We're not doing anything.
We ain't going anywhere, you know. But you know, it's funny because you have the people say, "Oh yeah, I don't get involved in protests and marching, don't do anything." And then you start thinking, well, when's the last time you walked 10 blocks? You know, can you walk up the hill? Oh, okay, so that eliminates you. So that's the real reason why. You know, you don't want to run out of you know.
That's a fact, son. Your ass can't get up. That's why you ain't going.
You know, the overcritical people. Okay, so you have a critical mind that's sharp. You read, that means that you can write legislation. You know, when I hear people talk about their ill pen game, okay, I need you to, your pen game is sick. Oh, you ain't go platinum, but you can write some legislation to help me get something, you know, at the community park. You
That's
know?
right.
Yeah.
Shout out to Birdie. This is one of the people who helped bring in a bunch of people. Shout out to Evelyn Rivera from Bronx Nomads. These people definitely, you know, help make a difference and bring people through and add to the community.
Let me ask you this, Mike. Man, you got so many members, which is dope. Is there a goal of having chapters around the Bronx that you even thought of, or is that even an idea?
Well, being that Team Spartan Spades is just a group, so it's a fitness group, and it's for wherever. Like if you guys came to race with us, you Team Spartan Spades. You know, whatever you do in your community, you race with us. You in the mix, because I want it to be a community where, just like with Spartan, it's a global phenomenon where people can go and work out and do the obstacle course racing. But I need you to be able to go to your family if you live in a community where you're not completely comfortable with, or you know, okay, Shannon is over here, Kenyatta's over here. That's still Team Spartan Spades. Y'all can go work out together. And if I have some people floating around like, oh, your friend, I met them, they cool. Are they working out? Yeah, go get with them. You know, because Mike can't be everywhere. And it was a time where I would go to so many different things, especially relative to the community work, while I'm in all of these meetings, which is going to take me away from my time in the park. But somebody has to do it, because everybody doesn't have the wherewithal to sit through and do the note taking, the research once you're done, to find out what agency is responsible for getting the tree removed. So the partnerships, there's an organization that's part of New York City, which is Partnership for Parks. You could go to their website and learn different ways how you can be involved within your community park to start an initiative. They partner with like Home Depot. So if you want to start a garden, you know, we talk about how many times the community is dirty, but everybody doesn't have to be involved with conflict. You know, yo, curb your dog or stop stepping on the flowers. But when you come through certain communities, oh, it's no flowers here because you let the kids just rip up the flowers that I just planted last spring.
Right.
So that impacts the beautification of my community, you know? And that's little things that we can do in the community where we're supposed to stand tall. A lot of people like to be like, yeah, I'm 10 toes down. You 10 toes down, but where? You know, where you standing?
You just 10 toes in your damn sneakers. You ain't down nowhere.
10 toes down in your living room.
You know? And having been to jail and all that, it was the same thing. Like I started learning, a lot of people, like Shannon said, a lot of people are critical, but they're not really taking the action. And sometimes the people who are actionable, it does take that nudge. Or even if somebody hates you, seeing that you out there, like, yo, Black Mike over there, he got them people working now. Oh, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go check him out. Now you check it out. Now you in the mix. You know, I don't care if you don't like me, but like our people,
Right.
the way that you say that you do, to make a difference. You know, I don't care where you take it to. Brooklyn is popping. We got the most impactful rap phenomenon. Okay, well let's make some improvements in these communities. You know, no matter where you are in the country, but it takes us stepping up. You know.
Or where we at with Team Spartan Spades sponsorships, man? What we doing? You looking to get sponsors?
Well, definitely. We was exploring a sponsorship. A lot of the stuff I have is sponsored by the community members. You know, I used to get a lot of things relative to the team through donating blood. You know, back in 1995.
You've been big on that. Yeah, you've been big on that for a while, Mike.
1995, 1996. I was involved in an altercation where my throat was slashed, and that required me to get blood transfusion.
Blood transfusion, yes, sir.
Being a young person, the whole thing where black people don't make it, young black males don't make it to 21. I was there, and my father was always a blood donor or whatever. I didn't understand it as a young person, the impact that it had. But that's what helped make Team Spartan Spades. So when I was donating blood, the New York Blood Center has a program where you get advantage points. So I will be donating platelets like once a week, every 2 weeks. Here, take it because somebody's going to need it. But then with those points that I realized that I was getting equipment for the team. Or whenever my clients came through, if I had a tip or something, I would take some of that, put that money to get stuff for us to work out with. And this is way before we got the adult fitness equipment out. So that's the sponsorship came from the team members. If somebody said, "Hey, Mike, I like what you're doing. You give me $50, I'm gonna think of what else we need for either the adults or the children program, and I'm gonna go get the tools with that." So you are
a little self-investment.
Yeah, self-investment. But we got a grant from the Spartan, the Give Back Foundation, which is a part of Spartan Kids because they seen the program that we was doing. Spartan had did a profile piece on me, breaking the mold. You guys can find that also on YouTube where I talk about the community involvement or whatever. And sponsorships, you got to look at them and see the benefits, because you don't just want a bunch of people throwing stuff on you. You want the community to feel their involvement. If I take on getting a bunch of shirts from Nike, are you going to say, okay, there are kids that need clothes. Can we give the kids the clothes? Let's get the kids the program to where they understand that, you don't have to be the number one basketball player, the number one football player. You could do obstacle course racing. Let's get those kids over here relative to the so we can keep that going.
Hey, Mike, I just want to tell you a good place, because when I was doing the basketball thing, we can reach out to the UA, because they have a lot of community grants and a lot of community outreach. What they didn't give us in money, they gave us money, but they also will give us like tons and tons of like equipment, like sweatsuits, all types of workout materials and stuff. So that's a good resource for you.
Thanks, Kenyatta. I appreciate that.
Yeah. You know what? I would think like in the Bronx, don't they have like Bronx Health Plus and places like that? Wouldn't they be good to partner with?
Yeah, what it is, like a lot of those programs that they have, they're things that are already in existence, but it's also the time. So a lot of my admin work, if I don't do a majority of the stuff, I'll try to have some of my team members reach out. Like my wife, she'll, reach out to some people for me, but she does like a lot of big stuff with DEI stuff anyway. So, everybody will be on different planes doing their community stuff. And I try to really be mindful about where we're aligning ourselves with, because sometimes I see like the basketball programs, but we need something that's continuous. Sometimes I don't just need t-shirts, I may need staff. Partnership for Parks works out for that. And outside of even addition to the staff, you need community members who are staff. This way, that involvement, if I decide, okay, I'm too tired, I'm burnt out, somebody's going to be there to help the program run efficiently.
Pick up the slack, right?
You know.
What is it? We talked a little bit about it, but just to get a little bit more specific, what do you feel it is about our environment that contributes to such poor health?
Well, one of the main things is, like we said, the way how we were cultivated, the resources that are available. Like some people will talk about their inability to get salads in our communities, yet nobody would go and open up a store to
Right.
sell these things that we need. We'll go
Right.
to supermarkets where they have immaculate stuff. Food Bazaar is one of these places that got great international thing. We'll talk about how much financial capital that we make as individuals, but we're not pooling that to open up the things that we say that we need. You know,
Right.
being near Route 1, Boston Road, that's a commercial route, but they have diversity to some degree relative to what the community's demands are. So now if we got like a Fresh and Co over there, people would go to the Fresh and Co. But the thing is with the smaller venues that happen to have juice bars and stuff like that, we need more
See that?
continuity in supporting those places.
Mm.
You know, we'll go to a place and there'll be an offshoot if it's not like Brother Roy's on White Plains Road. You know,
Right.
people will go to some of the places on Burke Avenue, but the continuity must be there for us to grow and sustain these things. And we're not making that effort as much as we can, the same way
Right.
we make the effort to, go to other food places, commercial food places that aren't providing the most healthiest,
Choices.
food and sustenance for us.
Options. We don't have no options, man. I mean, these areas are food deserts,
Yeah.
and they're that way for a particular reason.
hmm
I
And
got
we,
a
You know
we
what I
question.
mean?
gotta we gotta circumvent that by creating those opportunities and those resources.
That's
So
right.
we're all roughly around the same age or something. And one thing you hear, like in these different situations, whether it comes down to health and to just people being and the generations and learning, it seems like, and you always hear this, how we may have failed to get failed I would say our youth or something. What do you think? Do you think that we actually should be culpable or responsible in some of this stuff where they don't understand what's best for them, or they're not moving forward with?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. That's why some of the stuff I did, was to take responsibility. I tell people, oh, you need to get your kids healthy. Bring your kids if you want to work out, because now they're seeing you change. You know, change the system that we've helped either support indirectly or directly by being involved. And once we accept the responsibility, everything that goes back to being a warrior, you say you're a man, you're 10 toes down. Yo, I was eating wrong and we got to pull a plug on this. We got to get this together. We
Right.
got to get up and go run. The same way how you was training every Saturday morning to play football at DeWitt Clinton High School and Evander, the Tigers. Keep that same Tiger spirit, but you got to accept responsibility that, hey, I didn't do enough, or I stopped doing it, and get back in the mix and we can make those changes.
That's dope, man.
Tell us,
Bro.
tell us exactly. So now we need to hear what exactly is the death race, because this is the big upcoming race.
Oh, yeah. What's the trifecta weekend? What the hell is that?
The trifecta weekend. Well, Spartan began with peak races, and that was the culmination of people who are athlete adventurers. Joe DeSena, him and his partner at the time, Andy Weinberg, a few of those other guys was running around, transversing the world, getting out there in the environments, and put together this thing called a death race. The death race, it entails anywhere from 24 hours to 72 hours of pure insanity that they've devised that
Pure
involves
insanity. That's right.
physical therapy, not physical therapy, excuse me, personal training, PT. It involves psychological mind games where you're given instructions that can be override by somebody else's directive that creates a conflict to see what breaks you or not. There have been examples. If you look on YouTube, you'll find some of the outtakes from some of the races. My first time attempting the death race was last year, and it basically made it where I had to identify things within my own body. Having Hashimoto's, which is a thyroid condition, and me donating a bunch of blood, I was impacting myself. So I showed up and was toasted going into the race.
Wow.
There's so many stresses that go on in day-to-day life or whatever. I made the drive up to Vermont by myself. I was ready to rock and roll, but I didn't realize I hadn't been getting so much adequate rest that's required. Also, when you're at these different elevations or whatever,
Right.
Yeah, oxygen level.
oxygen level. So having had COVID, it was different. I had been up there in the summertime, but now the winter's different. you know, but I didn't realize. And one of the people who I was communicating with the previous year was like, Mike, you might want to lay off on donating so much blood. And these are things that we know from science and school, living sciences and everything. But sometimes we forget, you know, and we just rocking and rolling. I'm pounding away doing my community thing, but it impacted me. I didn't even get to the actual registration because they'll have you do tasks just to get inside the event just before you
Qualify.
your registration. So
Right.
you're doing like 8 hours of work and then the race hasn't even began, you know. And tap out. They say quit, but I didn't quit. If I quit, I wouldn't be going back. You
That's
know,
right.
Yeah.
you know, the quitters, they don't come back. You know, I tapped out because I was like so beat up. But you know, following that race, my wife had told me like, "Yo, you didn't get much rest." And when I looked over the data from my Fitbit and all of that, you know, part of it was that my daughter was turning 21, and I knew the challenges that I went through with turning 21. You know, living in a sense of fear that I don't have control over everything, but I'm hoping, you know, no other stuff is going on out there that can derail her making it to 21. You know, and it's impacting my rest or whatever. So I'm not thinking about oxygen deprivation. I'm up there to just get busy. I'm from Boston Road. I'm out here. I'm riding. You know, and it's doable. I do the polar bear plunge every year, so this is a test to get out there. You know, just like when you go for jobs, you can train all you want for predetermined tests, which will give you a predetermined outcome. But life's real lessons occur when you do things like the death race, and you got to get out there. And they're talking about, okay, you got to submerge in this water after you've been standing in it for 5 minutes.
Bro.
You got to submerge yourself for 15 seconds.
Yeah.
You know? Then you got to go hike a mountain for 8 hours or something in the darkness, in the cold. You got to figure that out. You know, you could train for it, but you done ate the wrong thing. Now you got the bubble guts. You know, it's not just a race to the finish.
Now you twisted.
You got to figure out what you're gonna do. You know? So
That's
it's
crazy,
like,
man.
you know, with this race coming up, it's a lot of things where you got to deal with hypothermia, which brings back to the science.
Talk about the polar bear plunge. You talking about hypothermia? You do that religiously almost every year, bro.
Yeah, and you know, I started that back in, I think, was it 2015, and I started doing it because I used to always see it on Channel 5 News in the morning. Doing it New Year's Day, and I said, hey, I want to try it from young, but since it's a borough removed, you know, that's happening in Brooklyn. We in the borough. You wasn't going all the way out there, you know, as a young person to go jump in no cold water. We just
we're not doing that.
But the thing is, had I been doing it, my life would have probably been on a different trajectory because I'm able to do it and test my physical wherewithal, where I can be in this cold, frigid water. You know, like even with the ice fishing stuff or whatever, I learned you definitely don't want to fall in this. You know, you definitely don't want to fall in this. So you're gonna do the right step to test the ice to make sure you're okay. You know, Renee and my daughter was there the first time we saw someone fall through the ice fishing. You know, I had some time in, but when you see, you're like,
That's about
it gets real. You know,
that is sick right there.
And some of the things with the death race, like they always ask you what's your why. Some of the people who I've met on this endurance path that I've been on is a lot of military, a lot of super elite athletes, people who've gone through divorces, dealing just with so many different things of what their whys are doing these things.
Right.
You know, to test yourself. You may have been an A1, you know, 5-star general, but you may have taken a hit where some of your convoy got damaged and lost a life, or just a regular person who lost friends and family, and you're trying to get back to the sense of who you are by testing it to see if you make the right decisions. And getting out there doing a death race, it's like, okay, this is an opportunity to see what else do you have, you know? What else do you have to go? And my why was why not, you know? I've made the wrong choices as a youth where people are like, oh, don't go do the death. Why would you do something called a death race? Because I live in the Bronx, and there's more death in the Bronx than there is in a death race, you know, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You know, so when I'm going to my car to, you know, go do an errand, I got to hope nobody stole my rims or whatever, which has happened, and you're hoping that you don't catch the person.
Right.
You know how it's going to go. You know, there may be somebody who's, you know, the stick-up kid, and he want, you know, whatever you got. you go on a mission someplace else, and now you got to figure out how do you resolve this conflict. That's the death race. But the actual death race is organized confusion where people have devised challenges. But the community. Recently, you seen the post where the 47 the Bronx has about 20. They're responsible for 27% of the shootings within the city. The precinct accounts for most of that, which is where we're from, Wakefield section of the Bronx. Unfortunately, so there's some of the things where I said we're at the helm where we could change these things. By me doing the stuff like the death race, I'm able to be like, yo, you want to keep it real and see how hard you are. Come up to Vermont while it's freezing and get through this joint.
Let's go to Coney Island, my nigga. Let's go to Coney Island.
I had a personal trainer at one point, and I signed up for like their boot camp. And boot camp was, I think, like 4 to 5 days of the week. I remember the first time going, I was like, I'm in pretty decent shape. I did that joint, I didn't like my nutrition and everything was off, but I figured, I'm like, how difficult could this be? I'm only gonna be working out like nonstop for like an hour or whatever. Afterwards, I got in my car. Oh man,
throw up.
I didn't throw up, but it was it was crazy. It was like, damn, I was mad hungry. Like I didn't even take any of that into account. I just went with like you said, like I'm in decent shape. I could do it.
So I play ball. I could do this.
Yeah. Then afterwards, as I started getting used to it, and I became more comfortable with it. I'm not gonna front, like it started off rough, but by the time boot camp was over, like I looked forward to it. It was something about it. Like it was very much, it helped relieve stress. My body felt good afterwards. I was in like tip top shape between doing burpees and sprints and all these different things or whatever. So I could see why this would be attractive and appealing to people. As far as like the death race stuff is concerned, like I would need years of training to do that.
Well, this is my second time, and like I said, I learned having had COVID a second time or whatever is gonna definitely be hell on my lungs, but I still got to keep pushing anyway. It doesn't take a lot; it just takes the
patience, right?
Hey, I'm gonna get in here and I'm gonna try this. There's a prerequisite that you've had to have done some of their major endurance challenges.
That makes sense.
And you saw the thing about the trifecta weekend. Basically, those are the 3 levels of Spartan, and people are knocking those things out over the weekend. Where the sprint is a 5K, the super is a 10K. The sprint has a 5K, 20 obstacles. The super is 10K with I think 25 obstacles, and the beast is about 33 obstacles and it's 13 plus miles. So people are going out there hammering it over the weekend, and you'll see so many people of different fitness levels, shapes, and sizes, different ages. My father joined me for my 10th year anniversary doing the Spartan race sprint. He was
shout out to Mr. Taylor.
Yeah, and this is the thing, Rob. He had like 3 fibers attaching his bicep to his shoulder because he worked for Brandon for decades and always running around with the extra weight, not realizing that it was tearing up his shoulder.
Wow.
We learned this, how many fibers he had left in September when he went to the doctor, finally had it checked out. Right. He finally had shoulder replacement in October. But this man did the Spartan sprint as best as he could in denim jeans, the super OG. You know what I mean? The super OG.
Mr. Taylor is a real one, son. Classic.
He had the dungarees on, So,
right. Just say it right. No jeans. They got dungarees on, bro.
He got through it. It's
right.
Like I said, so many people will fear it, but there's an awakening that occurs when you do these things. So when you see these people knocking them out on the weekends, you're like, damn, that's a lot of work. And the thing is, you don't have to run it. You could crawl it. The thing is to push through and get through it. The death rate is a whole different type of insanity where people see and be like, oh, nah, you wildin'. But like I said, the first time I went up to do the death race last winter, they have a winter one and a summer one. The summer one is even harder, I think, because it can go longer because the temperatures are right. So you have hundreds of people showing up battling it out. And it's like one of those things that once you try it, you definitely realize like, okay, I got to change this. This is possible.
Right.
It definitely requires a different type of you to show up and get busy. So there's going to be a big one for me, especially like my cold intolerances changed a little bit, but I'm gonna still get out there and push. You know, I'm making sure that I eat correctly in terms of caloric intake, because that's one of the other things I messed up on. I didn't do my carb loading how I was supposed to. You know, whereas you eating how you supposed to, fats, proteins, and carbs. You know,
you need that stuff to burn off.
You got to really load it up for some of these bigger events.
Yeah.
You got to make sure you're taking in the electrolytes. And I was able to learn that over the past year with identifying my own personal shortcomings.
Yeah.
You know, not wanting to eat because of my thyroid condition, cholesterol is going to be high, and I don't have any energy output.
Yeah. So it's definitely a science around it. There's definitely a science around it. Like right now, I got a Peloton. I ride my Peloton, but I started riding it probably a couple of months ago wearing a sauna suit, like a sauna jacket. Yeah. And one of the things I make sure I do is I have like my zero sugar Gatorade for electrolyte purposes, because you sweating profusely. So you drain all your electrolytes. So I don't want to fall off the bike and cramp out.
Catch a crazy cramp, bro.
Yeah, definitely. But that's the thing, like your understanding of it. So even to bring people who don't have that understanding, you get the chance to dialogue. So even when you're walking around getting the exercise, like, yo, you should try this. Here, try this. Get the Gatorade. Make sure you bring the banana out and eat before you come. Don't think about the young you who could knock all of this stuff out. Think about the current you.
Right.
Pace
yourself, bro.
Pace. And so as you step it up, you out there to crank out more and more, you know. But definitely that's my whys for doing the death race. You know, we got to change things within our community. There'll definitely be challenges up there, but after that's said and done, I still got to come back to where I currently live in the Bronx and hope for the best when I get down here, you know?
But I have faith in you. I have faith in you. You're going
to
be able to
appreciate it.
Complete it. Yeah, this might seem like a silly question, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Having had these experiences with these different races, what's your opinion of American Ninja Warrior?
It's a lot of people who do Spartan that do American Ninja. It requires a definite discipline, whereas you're making sure all your joints are functioning, you're stretching. You got to do what you need to do it. I definitely used to watch that show and want to get busy, but I was already in a different space, because like the stuff that they're doing requires your balance. If you haven't worked with your balance, you're falling in the first 10, 15 seconds, you're out of there. You know what I mean?
Ninja Warrior to Wipeout in 1 second.
Wipeout is crazy. I want to try that, because people be trying to get through it. You know, the piston come around and to knock you off. Now, that to me is a little more dangerous than the Spartan stuff, because you don't know how much force is behind that. With Spartan stuff, when you're running through the woods, people do get hurt depending on how they're performing out there. Like, you don't got to go full send. Some people be out there doing full send and all that. With Ninja Warrior, you running up the walls, you doing the upper body work, so you do got to have it together. But some people do the cross activities with that kind of stuff. There's a place in Brooklyn, I forget the name of it. It's like Fur Rocks Training. There's a like a Ninja Warrior gym in Brooklyn. Some of my people have invited me to check it out. I haven't been able to get down there because I got a turn rotator cuff for the left that I'm taking with me, but you know,
bro, you're a warrior. You're a true warrior. You're going out there beat up, you got COVID, you're running depth traps, you're polar fishing, and Jesus Christ.
That's
what else, Mike? What else can you do, bro?
Man,
you make clothes. What else?
The goal to me is to live, man. That's you know.
Say it again, bro. That's right.
Way of doing it, but as long as I can keep pushing while I'm here and making a positive impact.
That's right.
That's all it comes down to, you know.
That's what matters.
All the craziest stuff. But if somebody sees like, yo, this guy went all the way up here, okay, what else is up there? Oh, okay, you go check out Vermont. Okay, yeah, this is an area. This is a cool environment. I've never been outside my borough. Yeah, you get to see something new.
Right.
You know, you don't have to be scared of that. You know, telling me how tough you are.
That's right.
You know, down here.
Now, Vermont is beautiful. Vermont is very scenic too.
Yeah, excuse me. That's one of the things that also made a difference in my life. I used to go to the Fresh Air Fund as a child.
Oh, okay.
Moving around the city, I didn't have any family in the South where I could go down south for the summer and stuff like that. So we're doing the races. They happen throughout the country. So I'm going up to Tuxedo Ridge, New York, going to these different places, going to Vermont. I've been to New Hampshire, places that you only go really if you're reading or relative to your job. If you're going, you'll go over there, you'll go up to Boston. You're going to keep it local. You're not really doing any exploration. But having been up there, I've been up there like 3 or 4 times already to Vermont, and it's wonderful. You know,
It's beautiful.
It's one of the things that, hey, I could retire here, but then you assume that lifestyle for there. You know, you go to the Poconos and be like, oh, this is just New York, but there's other parts of Pennsylvania that you go to, and it's like, oh, I could do this. You know, I'm a city guy, but just that flexibility of getting out there and realizing, like, okay, this is also a moment of peace and tranquility.
That's right, bro.
Mike, let me ask you, because we're all native New Yorkers, so we all know what the Fresh Air Fund is. But for people who are watching this and who may not, reside in New York, can you just tell people a little bit about what Fresh Air Fund is?
Well, a Fresh Air Fund, that's somebody I'm definitely gonna partner with in the next year. So
that'd be dope.
A program that takes inner city children up to parts of New York. I don't know if they do Connecticut, but they used to do New York and Pennsylvania for 2 weeks out the summer, where they get to go to rural environments with a host family or sometime camps setups. I always went to a rural family, and I was fortunate enough to have been to the same family. I think I was like 7 years. You know, I was going when I think I was about I think I started going out there when I was maybe 7 or 8 years old, and that was a way for my father to get us, out the city. Like I said, we didn't have, our people was already in the Northeast Bronx or the South Bronx. You know, so that gave me the opportunity to get out there and get outdoors. Where it's like, okay, I've been to the parks, but now it's all type of real immersion in these, outdoor environments, and they're taking me to Canada. That's my first time going up to Canada. Going to Thousand Island. So I got the experience of going camping in those environments via the Fresh Air Fund. So make sure y'all follow them on social media. New York City also has camping things that they set up through the urban park ranges, where you're able to go sleep in the parks overnight. Orchard Beach, Central Park, Portland Park. So you got to definitely check out, the stuff that they have going on. That's the urban park ranges on NewYorkCityParks.org, and they have different things. It's a lottery process, but most of the time people get in. It's not that, because a lot of people still learning about it or don't know about it. But it'll be like a one-day thing where they provide the tents. I think we had to bring our own sleeping bags, and they'll take you on like a stargazing tour of Orchard Beach.
Wow!
See the
I didn't even know that.
calculation and all of that. Yeah, we've done it about 2 or 3 times or whatever, and that's some of the stuff that's available now because people have made it so.
Yeah, I wouldn't even be afraid of the elements as much as I would be more afraid of the riffraff. Some of those parks, like the elements, I could probably deal with.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff, because the park range is there overnight with you anyway.
Oh, okay.
When you do the New York City stuff, it's like 3 or 4 park ranges out there. So,
Shot, you can come sleep in my backyard, bro. I got fox, I got deer, I got bear, all that shit out here.
I'm gonna pass on that one.
The bear's a whole different thing. And that's also the discipline. Like when you learn about a lot of this stuff, your safety is first. Like we'll talk about situational awareness. You can feel the energy when you get on the train, who's on some bullshit, you know what I'm saying? Who's just mentally unstable or whatever. But when you're dealing with true nature that has, not been manipulated through diet or whatever, stuff is either passing by and don't want to be bothered, or it's coming through looking for something to eat. So the discipline to make sure you don't bring nothing in that tent. Probably like no
snacks,
leaving that candy bar you stash, you know what I'm saying? So you get your sugar up on the side pocket, get all of that out the tent, Make the man, Shannon, you got anything? Okay, put all that up. Rob, what you got? Yo, you had them
I
Twizzlers.
know you got them donuts,
You
nigga.
know what
You
I'm saying?
got them donuts.
Make sure all of that is out the way. So, you want to make sure all of that is together. But that's that discipline. Like I said, we're at the helm now. We're the elders, some of us. We got to set that tone where people aren't afraid to do certain things based on just the name,
Right,
So
that's right.
you could say death race to some people, the Bronx in itself is a challenge, Like,
Yeah.
oh,
The
you
Bronx is a death race. You keep it
live in the
fucking real.
Bronx? Like, oh, nah, I ain't going there, But you scared of me, going jumping in some freezing water, with gunman A, B, and C up the block, and they in the dispute. They don't even got nothing to do with you. But now you got to decide: is it worth me to go get that Chinese food that Robin them said I should cut back on? You got to really think about these things.
Yo, you put it in perspective, you start thinking differently. That's right, bro.
Do I need that junk that oh
That's
yeah,
right.
it's unhealthy? Do I need that?
Right.
Yeah.
Battle ensue, and now you're like, damn, I ain't even get my fries, man.
My thing is like I could commit to the actual workout. I could commit to that, but I do have an issue snacking from time to time. Like every now and then I like a bag of Doritos.
Man,
Every
I
now
love
and
donuts.
then,
I love donuts, and being in the true New York fashion, I go to Brooklyn to get my donuts, fresh donuts. I've been dabbling in bagels here and there, and that came about with me doing the polar bear plunge. I was looking for something to eat after. I said I want to get a real donut, not the the
I
branded
know
donut.
Dunkin' Donut shit. Nah, I got you.
They use New York bakeries, but they don't do the real deal joint, like the cinnamon roll, the big coffee
Yeah.
roll joints.
Where in Brooklyn you go?
Peter Pan Bakery. They
Peter Pan
featured it
Bakery.
in the
You
Spider-Man.
write that down.
They featured it in the Spider-Man, the last Spider-Man, No Way Home, or whatever. And it's like a true old-fashioned joint, like we used to have over on Allerton Avenue, the donuts
Yeah.
and stuff like that. It was that kind of spot.
Yo, you remember Alan Dom's on Gun Hill Road, bro?
Yep, it's that same energy. So
That
it's like
pastry, they used to make them good ass pastry cookies and
Danish,
shit.
yep, the Danishes or whatever, and it's like you can have
Yeah, yo.
Yeah,
your treats or whatever, but the thing is to just remember the discipline to it.
That's right.
Do you need 3 or 4? Is this something you could split with your lady or your kids?
That's
Because
right.
now you've met that desire, and you're like, yo, I didn't need the whole joint by myself. Here, babe, hey, you hit that. The kids, y'all split that because they see y'all sharing. You don't got to be indulgent, so you could train, you could eat and fall off. And that's one thing too, like with the Spartan race stuff. I tell people, because so many people are like, oh yeah, I'm not ready for that. I'm like, you are ready. All you got to do is come get busy, and however it go, it go. Because I tell people the main winners, they won already. They won already because they've been training their asses off to win. You know what I mean? They're not taking it there to go do all of this. They're just gonna come in and get busy because they've already been executing that lifestyle.
Right.
So a bunch of people who are first time racers, I bring people, I tell them, look, I'm gonna get you through this. And a lot of times that fellowship that we spoke about, that occurs on the race where if you're moving slow, you're gonna meet somebody out there like, oh, okay, homegirl needs assistance, let me help her up. Now y'all chopping it up. That person's gonna remember you. Big man having a hard time getting over the joint. Yo, you like 6'3", you could get over this 8-foot wall. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Reach your arms up and pull yourself up. I'll help give you a lift, and we're gonna keep pushing from there.
Okay.
Definitely, I'm gonna hope that you guys join me June 17th for the Spartan Race Sprint, which takes place in Bethel, New York.
Sprint? I mean, I got a dip.
Oh, nah, you don't have to, but that's the thing. This is the thing, like with the suffering that I tell people. If you don't get it together in 5 months to do the race, you're just gonna realize, like, damn, I should have trained harder because I'll be finished faster. You can finish fast and then be like, oh, that was nothing. And then I'll be like, yeah, well, why don't you do the next level?
That's the barometer.
They have different tiers. Like I said, the super will be coming up. Then you got the beast, and that's how it works. You think you got the sprint word? Well, let's sign
Shot,
up.
you ready?
Now hold on. I'm making a commitment. I'm signing Rob and Ken up for the next one.
You're going to be in administrative capacity.
Consider them there. Consider them there. They'll be there.
Nah, we all got to do it, man. There's always room on the team, like I tell people.
He's trying to be funny, son. You see that, Yada? He trying to be funny, Yada.
Yeah.
in his work. Like I said, it don't matter your body type, because what happens is if you can't do the obstacles, it's certain stuff that they'll let you just, if
That
you
you
can't
can
do it,
do.
you can't go around it. The ones you can do, but they have burpees. So the cost of failing the obstacle and not doing is 30 burpees.
Damn.
The burpees are more challenging than you trying to do.
Yeah, I would imagine.
You do the monkey bars and be like, damn, I almost did burpees for this. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? If you can't climb the rope, just go and start doing your burpees, knock those out. And what I do with my people when I bring them out there, if you can't do it for whatever reason that day, I'm gonna do 10, you do your other 20. We have more people, we split that up if that's how we rock it.
Okay.
The people will catch up to them at the end. When you get through that process and you done jumped over that fire, you get that banana, you get the water and whatever free promo drinks that they're giving out, and you get that t-shirt and that medal, you start thinking like, damn,
I did that shit.
It's a participatory thing. Like, you get a participation medal and all that. You still put in that work. You got out there, you crawled. Some people, their hang up is mud. Oh, I can't do dirt. So you realizing if things go left in this country, if we got to head for the hills, who's not coming.
Right.
They're gonna be cringing at it's dirt there, bro. You was just living in South Bronx and Hunt,
Nice.
Mojo, the Bojo, and Kathy Crack had been sleeping. You was laying on them benches all summer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now you worried about
all summer, yo. You ain't never lied, son.
So
now I think I'd be interested in probably coming out and training with y'all and seeing what it's about. And probably I'm not doing no death race. I'm not, but a regular basic joint. I may try one out.
Yeah, this is the time to do it, because I'm telling you, like it's just so many different awakening things, and even the
June. What's June 17th?
That's a Saturday.
Is that the death race?
No, that's the Spartan Sprint.
Spartan Sprint. All right.
Yeah.
All right, give us the overview of what that looks like, so I can mentally prepare and we could.
Yeah, we gotta strap up mentally for that.
Only mental preparation is needed, right?
It's showing up.
It's showing up. They say that's the hardest part is showing up, because once you get there, you're gonna be like, oh, I can do this. You're gonna see people leaving by the time you get there, because they done rocked it already. Whole families, little kids with their medals and t-shirt. You see the elderly people. Some of the oldest people that do the Spartan races are like 78-year-old people. My pops, he was 70 when he did his joint, but it's 78-year-old people. I think they got an 83-year-old dude who been rocking and rolling. This dude, he was in the military, but that adds to his drive and motivation. He has the discipline. But when you see these people in their age and you're like, wow, I can't be scared to do this. My thing that I always tell people, no matter what goes down, get your ass up if you fall, because you don't want the old person to be like, I'm going to run, get help. I'm going to run, get help. Stay there.
Stay there, young man.
You finish what you came to do. Don't come pick me up. You know what I'm saying? You don't want big man talk about, you were passed out for a while. I carried you the rest of the race. I got
that's some bullshit, right?
Wonderful. He hung in there. You don't want them saying he hung in there. He did great, and you like, dude carried me. They'd be like, yeah, you was knocked out. He carried you to the whole joint. It's portly people out there rocking and rolling, smoking you. You're like, damn, what am I doing wrong? Your nutrition wasn't together, and theirs was.
Right.
But I'm gonna have to like, okay, I gotta work on me. I didn't need to drink. You got a lot of people that'll drink the night before the race, get hammered, and think that they were still in the Marines. Now they're puking on the side, and little stuff starts surfacing, and people like, no, he's
sweating, heart palpitating, all.
So we can't have no Tito's or.
Yeah, people be having that after. Some of the people were Bronx Soul. It's one of the run crews down here that I got them to do the Spartan race last year. At the end of the joint, they came out with the Tito's and the bottles. The party was going, because at some of the joints they used to give out beer, so you get a drink ticket. For insurance purposes, they started giving out like seltzers, some type of seltzers or something like that, like Mike's Hard Lemonade and stuff like that.
Getting hammered after that.
I mean, this is off topic, but I've never tasted Mike's Hard Lemonade. What is Mike's Hard? To me, that's like the Calvin Cooler.
It's a wine cooler, bro. Equivalent to a wine cooler.
Yeah,
But you know why? I'm gonna keep it a stack with y'all. You know why I've never thought to taste it? Because I used to watch To Catch a Predator, and To Catch a Predator, the
He's a nuts.
the Predator will always show up with a case of Mike's Hard Lemonade. Party started. So I'm like,
you don't want to look. You don't want like a perv, huh?
You're talking about. Oh, I wasn't trying to get anybody drunk.
Oh man, I don't have any other questions, man, for you. I don't know if Rob or Kim does. No, Rob.
Nah, I'm fresh out. You know what? I think I'm down for the 17th, Mike. You might have sold me, bro.
Let's get it done. I'm gonna be making some moves, so maybe even magically I'll have some passes for y'all to come lock in. You know, like I said, the training isn't much. You could fall off and start training, you know, within 2 weeks before the event, depending on how you was living. You know, like I said, you know, you wait till the last minute, and now you done, you know, you trying to cram. It ain't gonna go well. We're gonna be out there. We're gonna be out.
You're gonna be out there for 6 hours.
We're gonna be out there. You know, I did the race sick one time. You know, I had got sick and I got the chills driving up there. Whatever, I ate something that was wrong, and I tried to eat some steamed fish like the day before. Bro, that didn't help at all. I'm out there sweating, and I realized like, okay, I could be on my feet for 5 hours. You know, most of the team finished, so they was waiting for me. That's the only hang up with taking long. Your family be waiting for you or whatever. But if they with the ride, they down for the ride and all that, we're gonna be out there because, like I said, there's so many people and opportunities for you to fellowship with people who see you like, yo, you're in Connecticut. Oh, they see the shirt. Oh, you did the Spartan race. Oh, you're crazy. I can never do that. And then you see like, okay, you chop it up with them, and now they're doing it.
Right.
Yeah. Now I'm definitely I'm interested, but I'm a train. I'm not gonna do no 2 week thing and then get out there and you know you like your 2 minutes in and tap out like nah.
Yeah, I see Shannon trying to be with the elite people.
Nah,
he is.
Not at all.
Talk about robbing them taking dumb long. Where y'all at?
Nah, not at all.
Like
the only person I'm racing against is myself at that point.
Yeah,
like I'm not even considering a race. The only thing I want to do is, to me, finishing it'll be successful.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, you definitely finish, and that's the thing. When you get out there, it's your race against you. You know, it may rain, it may be whatever, but you push through and you realize, okay, it's raining, it's a little extra slick. I just slow up. You know, you don't need to break nothing. You still got to go to work or whatever. You got to make the joint. You don't want
Pace yourself.
You don't want to be on the next podcast with the full body cast talk about. Hold up, I should
fucking with Mike. Listen, man, I've been fucking with Mike this whole weekend.
I should have slowed up. I should have listened. You know?
That's the weekend warrior joint. You know that. That's the weekend warrior joint where everybody come back to work on Monday all banged up.
Yeah, and that's what they call Metal Monday. So you have people coming out showing they bling. The people who do the trifecta weekends, you'll have all 3 medals. You know, some of the people who really take it. And there's also a group too that you should follow and join if you can on social media. Black Spartans.
Okay. Black
Spartans was another group that I ended up meeting. They follow each other because a lot of issues did pop up relative to how people felt doing these races as people of color, that they didn't feel like they was part of a community. But the Spartan community is big. It depends on everybody's interaction. You know, you have some people who just how they were raised, you know, they don't interact with these kind of people.
Right.
So that makes people feel unsecure with them going to race. Sometimes it's women predominantly by themselves, Black women, you know, and they are unprotected. So when they out there doing these races, they would like to know that Shannon is there, Yacht is out there. Oh, Rob, I met your boy Rob at this other race, you know. So that's outside of Team Spartan Spades, but they're more of a group that's all over the place. People that are
sign me up for novice. Sign me up for the novice, the beginner one.
We are there. That's it. That's the sprint. That's the sprint.
That's it. We good June 17th. Yacht, are you coming?
Knees permitted, yeah.
They got knee braces. Don't worry. You know, like I said, I closed the course, you know. So me and you just out there chopping it up, we're gonna be out there, y'all. To just, you know, slow motion, we get it done. We do what we
Pace
can.
yourself. I'm with it.
Shirts.
I'll see if I can train and get my ass in order.
Yeah,
I think I
it
can
don't
do
take
it.
much, and also, like we talked about sponsorships and support and all that. Rob, relative to what you got going on there, athletes that don't have they're short of living and stuff like that. So whatever, what do you call them things? I keep forgetting, like the sickle cell awareness stuff or whatever.
Right, kidney awareness, all that.
Kidney
Yeah.
awareness or whatever. You can go and represent that.
Absolutely.
Relative to healthy lifestyle or whatever. Y'all will have the album finished by then, so it's all stuff that could tie back into health and wellness. Just what you being out there.
That's a
You
fact.
may be somebody else that'll be like, "Yo, I lost my kidney, but my kid gave me the kidney or whatever, and we were able to do this. This is
That's
our
a fact.
race, and I would love to chop it up with you. Oh yeah, I live out here too. I'm over here.
That's a good way to transition the story and share a story. Absolutely.
All right.
I agree with you.
So, Mike, outside of your IG handle, which we have on the screen,
Mhm.
Team Spartan Spades, if people want to get in contact with you, how could they go about contacting you, or how they go about joining Team Spartan Spades?
Show up for a workout. This time of year, like I said, I'm heading up to Vermont on Wednesday. I'm racing that Thursday morning, pushing through. I'm doing a snowshoe race up there at that same location for Saturday. But y'all are welcome to join us for any hikes. We hike up in Mount Beacon, New York. It's a 1,000-foot vertical, and then we cover either like 2 miles, 2 to 6 miles over there, or longer, depending on which team captains are with us or whatever, and depending on how people feel. That's one way how I do it. However you feel when you show up, that's what we're gonna work on. We'll push a little bit more because I don't need you to get jacked up just in just initial show up some workouts or whatever. So hit me up 914-266-0976. That's my line. You can follow me on Facebook, and that's Team Spartan Spades. I have a private group and also just a regular page. The private group allows you to just be in there and see who we have in the group or whatever, see what's going on, and you get to learn about when we're going to do the meetups and the workouts. We don't also just do the Spartan races. We do hikes. We do bicycling. So we got some cyclists, the Team Spartan Spade rollers, where the dudes will take out their mountain bikes or their other bikes and just go, get miles in.
Right.
So it's something for you to do. And if you come into Team Spartan Spades, you can introduce us to some stuff, It's all about health and wellness. So the obstacle course, I'm going to push that. But if you want to go do hoop, we got basketballs on deck. We can go do that because that helps with the cardio, just to keep people active.
That's the goal. Keep people active, man.
Mike, good looking out, man. Thank you. I'm excited about this. I'm gonna make sure we put this on the calendar and make this happen. Depending on how I perform, there may or may not be video footage.
You may not capture your footage, but other people will have that
You
footage.
gonna be
And if they put it out,
Damn! Oh shit! Oh, bang! Oh man!
yo, right out the gate, you grabbing your hamstring like it's over.
So but we're gonna have some good content.
Word.
So,
I mean, that's probably one of the things too, like the possibility of overtraining, right?
yeah. Some people overtrain, and my first race, I think I overtrained because I didn't know the full scheme of things or whatever, so I was overcompensating in Bronx Park, and I'm jumping over stuff at the wrong angles because naturally you would jump straight. You wouldn't try to jump diagonally. I'm slamming, messing myself up. So I've done maybe like 4 or 5 races all jacked up, For the past 4 years, I've been racing with a torn rotator cuff for the left. So after the death race, I'm going to get my surgery done, schedule that, and get back in the mix. And, it's on and popping after that. So we'll still meet up for the workout. So,
non-stop Mike, son. That's what he is.
Yo, we about to have No Ideas original Epsom salt.
On the market, son.
And there ain't no shame in that. You drop it in. You look at what the elite athletes do, especially relative to y'all would done like a lot of the research. People are taking cold baths to restore the muscles and all of that. It's stuff to get done. So don't be no shame in getting that Epsom salt. Keep it handy. So when the cramps go down, you recover. Right?
Oh man, thank you, Renee. Thank you everybody for tuning in tonight.
Salute, Mike.
Thank you.
Right.
Thanks for everybody in the
Thanks a
chat.
lot.
Get
Appreciate
No
it.
Ideas original crew at the June 15th.
June
June
17th.
17th.
June 17th, we go out there. Like I said, footage pending. But thank you everybody for tuning in tonight. Appreciate
Thanks
you.
for having
Salute.
me.
We'll catch you on the next one.
Peace.
Peace,
Peace
guys.
everybody.